recording and transcription now.
Okay, thank you very much. This is the October 7th, 2022 State of Nevada Medical Laboratories Advisory Committee meeting. I'll start with roll call just to make sure we have a quorum. Christy Elliott.
Present.
David Marmaduke. Not here. Alexander Stojanov.
Present.
Victor Murrow.
Present.
Ian Buxton.
Present.
Jill Brown.
Present.
And Ison Azam.
Present.
All right, looks like we have our quorum. Again, my name is Nathan Orm with Bureau of Healthcare Quality and Compliance. We have Brad Waples, our acting medical lab services manager. He'll lead the rest of the meeting after this. Emma Duarte, supervisor with Med Labs. Carrie King and Nikki Feister, administrative assistants with Med Labs. All right, so Brad, I will let you carry on with agenda item number 2 and go from there.
Okay, at this time, we'll take a public comment from anyone that wants to make any comment as to the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee's information that they want to supply, or any questions or any comments that they may have. So let's start with that, Nathan, please.
All right, if any members have public comment, if you want to pose a question, I suppose that's fine, but I don't know that we aren't going to get into answering questions at the moment, but we can certainly take note of it. Any members of the public, please go ahead and unmute yourself, either on Teams or on the phone, and let us know if you have any comment. Hearing none. Brad, you want to move on to your next agenda item?
Okay, the next agenda item is number 3, and there was for the review and approval of the minutes from the March 25th, 2022 meeting. Is there any questions or comments from the members about the meeting minutes from that time? And if there are no comments or questions, would anybody want to make a motion to approve?
This is Jill Brown. I move to approve the minutes from the March 25th, 2022, as written.
Thank you. In a second.
Thank you.
Christy Elliott, I would second that.
Okay. With a second, then we can move on to
take a vote.
Then the minutes have been approved, and we can.
Brad,
move on
you want to get a vote? Yes. We need to get a full vote on the motion.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So all those in favor of approving the minutes as written?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I think that's everybody. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Go ahead, Brad.
Okay, so we'll move on to item number 4, the update on the proposed regulations, LCB file number R126-21, which were changes and updates to the Nevada Administrative Code 652, was approved by the Board of Health on 9/2/2022, and was also approved by the Legislative Commission. So it has actually been codified and has been signed off by the Secretary of State. So they are able to be used now. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of the members of the MLAC committee for being a part of that, so that we could get that moved through the Board of Health easily. So is there any questions or comments that for this agenda item?
Brad, this is Nathan Orm for the record. I'll, as soon as I find it here, I'll put a link in the Teams chat from the legislature's website to what I believe will be the final version in case anybody wants to look at it.
Okay.
There we go. There's a link in the chat to that final version. I guess if nobody has any comment or questions, you can move on to the next item, I guess.
Okay. There was a couple of updates that we wanted to make with the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee's bylaws. The two items that we wanted to make adjustments to was the change in the location and also the name of our laboratory service, which is now going to be was changed to the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Public and Behavioral Health, and the address is showing the current address of that location. The other change that was made, that was approved by the members, was to have the meetings instead of twice a year to be at least once per year. Those were the changes that were made, that the members approved, voted on and approved at the last March meeting.
Brad, my apologies. I haven't gotten the new ones posted to the website, but I'm screen sharing now. And as you can see, we've updated the address.
And the name.
And the name, sorry. And then the meeting frequency, at least once a year. Was that it? Did you say?
That was the only, yeah, that were the only two things that were changed.
Okay, just wanted to screen share and show those. I will get them posted to the webpage, barring any other changes that need to be made, which I'll let the committee weigh in on that now.
Okay.
All right, if the committee has
can we
nothing
move
further
on?
on that, I guess.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the next agenda item. This is going to be the consideration of applications to the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee for the open general supervisor or medical technologist position to make recommendation to the Board of Health. Just so the members, just to refresh memories, the bylaws say that any members of the board, Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee board, is approved by the Board of Health. So we had sent out inquiries as to people that would be interested in being on the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee. We had 17 respondents, and those 17 respondents, do we have that, Nathan?
Yes, in the chat, I put a hyperlink to the single PDF, which has all of the applications in it. I only blacked out the people's individual personal email and phone number, but everything else, the information about all of them is just scroll through, and you can, they're usually about 2 or 3 pages each for each applicant.
Okay. And the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee are the ones who make the recommendation to submit to the Board of Health, and then the Board of Health will make the approval of that person for that vacant position. So at this time, is there anybody from the list that was available to recommend as a person that you would like to see on this committee for the vacant position? Dr. Stojanov.
Hi, Brad. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad you got so many applicants. that was quite good. Let me start that a lot of these candidates are great. Some of them I know, and I've seen that some of them have moved. You know, they've been here for quite a few years and have changed jobs, etc. But what I've done is that because there were so many applicants, I went through them all, and some of them I wasn't quite sure. I mean, with the I'm looking more toward Nevada residents or people that have been working in Nevada, and there were quite a few of them that been labeled as presently as lab manager. I don't know. I don't have the full context, but just from what I'm getting from what Nathan sent out, lab manager in Texas, lab manager in Washington, Michigan. I've set those aside because I'm not sure exactly what's going on over there. There's another Illinois. I'm looking more toward people that have sort of strongly associated with Nevada. Also, I'm separating those people that are doing administration. I'm looking more toward people that have got hands-on doing lab work, hands-on lab stuff, not so much administration. So those people are in there, and I've sort of whittled them down to maybe about half a dozen candidates, and there's a couple that stand out. Judith Burns at Quest Diagnostics, she's one. Taylor Noyes at Renown is a good one, I think. Also, Holly Hill Taylor, QA specialist. I would put her in that group. And Hardy Normandy, St. Mary's Reno. And maybe I'll throw in one more is Chris Labor-Dure at the State Lab in Reno. Like I said, there's quite a few applicants, but I think the problem, I think what we need to do is whittle them down to some sort of way of finding the correct applicant. So I've got half a dozen. I think they seem to be excellent candidates on paper. There's 5 candidates.
This is Ian Buxton. Could I just add, I've looked at all of these as well. I don't know any of them. I would just like to comment that there's 2 things missing in my view. First of all, what is the qualification in particular that we're looking for? And secondly, what are we to know besides what's just been offered, which is the only obvious points available? There's so little information. I mean, either they're here or not, and either they have a certain job role or not. And I respect that we've sorted them out in that way, but isn't there more to say? What are we really looking for?
This is Brad Waples. According to our bylaws, for that vacant position, it's supposed to be held by nationally certified medical technologist, clinical laboratory technologist, clinical laboratory scientist, pulmonary laboratory technologist, or blood gas technologist. That's the only qualifications for that position.
Thank
I
you.
would-
So if, I beg your pardon, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say what I agree with Dr. Buxton, but what is the committee? What do we want? It's like they all obviously all qualify, but what are we really looking for? What does this individual do? What's their contribution? What do we want from them?
Right. So it seems to me that if in fact we think about the bylaws and we say these are folks who are doing the job and we want their input on the committee, I would like to suggest something unusual, which is that because Dr. Stovanoff may know somebody, he may be able to recommend them on the basis of knowing that they are a solid individual to put on the committee, because I have no other information to help me.
Yeah, this is Alex Sturgeonoff. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, the amount of information is limited. And I'm sort of guess already in their particular present position. So that's how I sort of gauged some of these applicants. I mean, there's so many, you've got to cut, you've got to find some way to cut them. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time trying to find somebody. But credible places work like renowned UMC.
Dr. Stojanoff, we're having some audio issues and
I mean,
you're not coming
I'm
through.
sort of assuming that, you know, that they're. Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh. Can you hear me
It's
now?
almost like your feed is intermittently coming through because we get it like every few
Oh,
words.
hello?
And your camera also is kind of. Now,
Maybe
the camera looks better.
maybe if you try turning off your camera, maybe it'll strengthen your audio.
Camera. Let's see. Maybe I need to turn my camera off. How about that? Turn camera off. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Hello?
It seemed to work. It helped.
Yeah.
You sound better.
Okay. What I'm trying to say is that, you know, you've got quite a few applicants here. You've got to somehow cut these applicants. I mean, I'm trying to. There are some people I know that probably would not make the cut, but there are some there that I know that are excellent and are working in excellent institutions. So as far as that's concerned, that's what I'm sort of throwing my hat on. And there are about 5 or 6 of them there. And then, you know, it's about, well, obviously they need to have a general supervisor's license, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And that's who we sent the notices out to, anybody with a general supervisor license.
Right.
And medical technologist license.
Right. So as long as they have those two pro formas, then I think they should be okay. I mean, like I say, I'm recommending Taylor Noyes, Judith Burns, Holly Hill Taylor, and Chris Labadure. Heidi Dormady at St. Mary's. So, I mean, there's 5 there. I mean, we can whittle those down to 1, but I mean, I think these 5 are excellent. So
This is Nathan Orm from staff, if I may interject and just throw something out there. I mean, you guys can, of course, you recommend someone, take a vote at this meeting if you like. However, it's not required. What you could, in theory, do, given the number of applicants, is pare down, as you guys have been discussing, and invite those specific individuals back next meeting for questions, and then take a vote. Not that I'm sure, there's a great desire to put off the decision, but if there is that level of wanting to give it a little more, scrutiny or get more information, that is a option.
this is Alex Sturgeonoff again. I'm going to recommend Judith Burns. Just, I think she looks like she's an excellent candidate. She's Senior Director of Anatomical Pathology at Quest Diagnostics. I think that I think she'd be an excellent candidate.
This is Christy Elliott. I would recommend Taylor Noyes, but I will say, in all honesty, I don't know the other candidates, but I work with Taylor on a daily basis, seen her in many different roles in the years that I have worked with her. And I think, like, on just about any complicated issue, we always run into, like, what do the regulations say? And she's always on it. And if she doesn't know it, she finds the answer.
Great. That's good.
This is Jill Brown. I know Pat Armour. I would like to recommend her.
This is Nathan Orm for the record. Obviously, you guys can discuss further now if you like. Perhaps if I recommend incorrectly, Piran, our Deputy Attorney General, can stop me, but I believe at this point, since it sounds like you have 3 different recommendations, like I said, you could opt to, somebody could make a motion for one of them, and then we will go for a second and a vote, and either take that person if they are approved, or it's rejected, the motion is rejected, and move on to another one. Or again, you could table it and bring those 3 individuals for further questioning. I just wanted to throw out a couple of options for you guys to consider.
This is Alex Sturgeonoff. I recommend Taylor Noyes.
Is that an official motion to vote on that person?
Yeah.
Okay, which individual was it again? I'm sorry.
Taylor Noyes.
Taylor Norris.
Noyes, Noyes.
Noyes. Okay. Then I guess we would go. I'm sorry.
At Renowned.
Renowned. Then I guess we would go for a second on the motion.
This is Christy Elliott. I would second that.
All right. Motion to approve. I'm sorry. Was it Taylor Noyes as a member of the MLAC? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Aye.
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 Aye. That was Christy.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none. Okay. I guess you have your new member, Brad.
Thank you, everyone, for choosing a very qualified person to join our membership in the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee. Thank you, Nathan, for all your help on that.
And Brad,
so
Brad,
with that,
this is Piran Takis, Deputy Attorney General. I just wanted to chime in and make a clarification for the record. This is a recommendation to the Board of Health to appoint. So the next round,
Oh.
this will go up to the Board of Health. Once they make the appointment, then it'll be, that individual will be formally appointed to the board.
Correct. Thank you for that. Okay, so we can move on to the next agenda item, discussion of open MLAC position upon the completion of the term of Dr. Victor Murrow in December of 2022. With this, we will need to come up with some candidates that would be willing to participate in the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee. Since Dr. Murrow is his second consecutive term will be on December 2nd, will end on December 2nd, 2022. So we'll need to also think of someone to be replacing him and to submit to the Board of Health for their approval. So does anybody at this time have any suggestions as to persons that may be interested? And the position for Dr. Murrow would be one licensed physician actively engaged in the practice of clinical medicine in Nevada.
Hi, this is Alex.
Does anyone? Yeah. Yes,
Hi.
go ahead, please.
Yeah, I know a few. I just have to let them know if they're interested. They just have to be a licensed MD, correct, in the state of Nevada?
That's correct. That's the recommendation, or that's the what the position would be that Dr. Murrow would be vacating.
Right. Okay. I'll just get back to you, Brad. I mean, there are people I know that might be interested.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And if there's anybody else that know any physicians that are licensed in the state of Nevada that would be interested in joining our committee, please let us know, and we will put them on for the next agenda as to persons that would be interested in joining our committee.
Brad, this is Nathan Norm for the record. So just to make sure it's fair and equitable, I will send out an email again with the form for any potential applicants, but we'll just want to make sure we get the names of your suggested people to make sure specifically they get the email notice and the form so they can fill it out and be considered.
Okay. The next agenda item is an open discussion for the members about any issues, concerns, or possible future agenda items that they would like to see or speak about.
Yeah, hi, this is Alex Dojanoff again. I wasn't quite sure about the COVID restrictions. Has that been lifted by the state for emergency use and all that? I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, this is Brad Waples for the record. When you are speaking about COVID restrictions, are you talking about
COVID testing?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, COVID testing.
Yeah, COVID testing.
Yeah.
There has been, came out this week from CMS, there was information saying that originally in 2020, they were allowing for the testing of asymptomatic patients with testing that was really had an intended use for only symptomatic patients. And so that allowance was for some time, but again, through the CLIA requirements is always to follow the manufacturer's instructions. But they had allowed this consideration at the time only because they were trying to get as many people tested as possible, symptomatic or asymptomatic. So that was the rationalization for that consideration. The information that just came out this week from CMS stated that they are rescinding that consideration, and now all manufacturers, all laboratories will have to follow manufacturers' instructions for the intended use of all COVID testing, which means a lot of the COVID testing, especially the antigen like the Binax now, was for symptomatic patients only, and it would tell you the time frames in which you could be testing also, like if they had, at what time that they had initial symptoms and that up to a certain time frame. The same one did not say anything about asymptomatic patients and testing them. So now all laboratories are supposed to be following just the manufacturer's directions for the intended use of the test.
Hello, this is Emma Duarte. I know Brad was out of the office this morning, so we did receive another update from CMS. They rescinded that previous order. So now we're back to the laboratories being able to test asymptomatic patients with the antigen and PCR tests. So this is just, hot breaking news from CMS. So we're back to the previous EUA approval where we are able to test asymptomatic patients.
This is Brad Waples for the record. Again, that tells you about how quickly things change, because I just had a talk this week with other parties stating that the change that CMS could come out with, and now we're changing back. So that just tells you about how quickly things are changing.
Hi, Alex Sturgeon. Do you know why they changed back, or is there a reason for it, or?
We don't have that information.
Well,
Are there any other topics or future agenda items that you would like to speak about at this time?
at this time.
Okay.
Brad, this is Nathan again. I'll just real quick just so the committee knows, I will, pending the next meeting date, which comes next, I'll send out an email again as well regarding suggestions for agenda items at that time as well. So in case anything comes to mind between now and then.
Thank you, Nathan. Okay, so the next agenda item is to determine a date for the next meeting. And one of the things that we had, Nathan and I had talked about was we would like to, the Board of Health is going to be meeting on, I think it's the first Monday, December, or on Friday, the first Friday, which is December 2nd, 2022. And we were thinking about, so that we could have, if we could get the person approved by the Board of Health on Friday, that we could have a meeting on Monday, which is December the 5th, so that we could have a full membership vote on which would also include Dr. Murrow, to vote on a candidate that would be replacing him, since his last day would be on the 6th. So we were looking for having the meeting again December 5th, and we can also have it at this time since it seems to work out well for everyone. How does that sound with everybody as far as a possible date?
Sounds good.
Can I do it from Australia, Brad? Because I'm going to be in Australia.
Absolutely, you can do it from anywhere that we can connect you up, Dr. Stojan.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
gonna say,
not-
as long as they have internet in Australia, then we're good.
Yeah. Hey, I reckon they do. No worries about that. But I don't know what time it's going to be. It's going to be either 12 o'clock's probably going to be about 5 a.m. But that's all right. I'm an early riser.
That's okay. We look forward to having you, Dr. Stojan.
Oh, the pleasure.
And also, another thing that we would like to consider at the December 5th meeting is, this is not on the agenda, but for someone to be the chairman. Now, the person that would take over, or the person that would be identified as the chairman doesn't have to go through the Board of Health. The bylaws say that it's elected by the membership as to who they would like to have as the chairman, or chairperson rather. The job of the chairperson would be to run the meeting kind of like I'm doing today. They would also be part of having agenda items. If there's anybody that they would like to bring on to make a presentation or anything or they would have suggestions from the other membership to have presentations, they would be part of that also. So if there's one thing to think about as to the next meeting is to think about who you would like to have as the chairperson of the Medical Laboratory Advisory Committee. And Nathan, I think at this time that completes our agenda items and we're ready for public comment.
Looks like it. So any, again, agenda item 10, public comment. If anybody would like to make any comment whatsoever, please unmute yourself and identify yourself for the record and go ahead.
Hi, this is Jennifer Archer. I'm with Valley Health Systems in Las Vegas. And I'm sorry, I may have missed it, but last meeting we spoke about the licensure of general supervisors working at freestanding emergency departments affiliated with hospitals. Do we have a final on that, Brad? I'm sorry, I might have zoned out.
Oh, Jennifer, I think this is Brad Lazels for the record. Jennifer, I think I sent you an email with the updated regulations. And so it was under section 12 as to what the actual verbiage is going to say.
Section 12. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment or questions? Or public comment? Hearing none, and I guess December 5th was agreed upon generally. Brad, I'll let you move to 11.
Okay, at this point in time, we can adjourn. I just want to say to everybody, the members and everybody that called in today, I want to thank you all for your experience and all of the things that you provide to this committee, and I appreciate everything. So thank you all, and we will be coming back on December the 5th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Gary, you can go ahead and